And welcome back to Retrospect My Fantasy, where today we're going to be continuing building our world guide for Al-Qadim, which is a D&D 2nd edition campaign setting, and we're bringing it to life in the modern era of 5th edition. Now, I don't know why, but I seem to have lost audio in my cans, so let me check something here. No, nothing. Well, that's a little weird. Anyway, I guess I don't really need audio. I don't need to listen to the music, although it was far more enjoyable to do so. We're going to go over a few announcements before we get back into building. Number one is that we have a Discord, so please come join our Discord. We've got game comms, we've got chat rooms. Come hang out, offer suggestions, help us grow as a community. That is what we are here to do. Number two is that we have a partnership with Humble, the amazing creators of the Humble Bundle, Humble Monthly, and the Humble Store, all of which are amazing ways to get what you're looking for. One, amazing ways to help support fabulous charities. And number three, if you use a link like the one that I just put into chat, that will also help support our channel. So please, if you're looking to help support our channel, if you're looking to buy anything in the near future, please use our link. It helps a lot more than you can imagine. It's only 5%, but that's huge. So please. And then two more things. Currently, you guys hopefully are hearing music. I am not, so I hope you guys are. I'll turn that up a little bit. And that music is provided by, thanks to the Free Music Archive. And down at the bottom of the screen, once we go to our game design setup, you will see a Winamp playlist section, and that is going to be up constantly. That way you guys can see who made the songs and the song title. If you wish to go and get it yourself, it's all free. You can go there and just pick up anything you want. But for people like me who are using it as kind of background music, it is it's part of our agreement that we share the creators of the tracks. And last and most important is that we have a Patreon. And the reason why that's most important is because that is a way that you can provide, if you wish. I'm not presuming anything upon you guys. If you wish, you can help support us monetarily with the convenience of reoccurrence, automatic reoccurring, every month, as much or as little as you want to give, in whole dollar amounts. And if you are feeling so generous as to do so, and you hit our $20 tier, you will get a copy of or not everything, but whatever project we have just completed in our design works. So, for instance, when we complete our Al-Qadim World Guide, if you are a patron at the $20 level, upon that completion, I will print a copy and send it to you. Also, you will get a digital copy for ease of use. If it's something like a board game where it's really hard to make a digital copy, you'll just get a physical. If it's something like a video game where really the digital copy is all there is, You'll only get a digital copy. So there is some leeway there, but for all of our D&D or just role-playing stuff, you'll get a physical and a digital copy of it. Now, let us head on over to our design. So last week we got 8 pages done. I'm going to close Winamp. Oh no, because it's not just Winamp. I can't hear anything. Can I hear that if I... What if I take out the speakers? Can I hear it in my cans? Nope. That is a little upsetting. I don't know what is causing that. Okay, yeah, that's set correctly. Yeah, that's set correctly. I am a little concerned, but I can see the levels going up when I'm talking, so you guys at least can hear me. Huh. And it has to be something to do with my audio interface, which should be having no problems considering it's a shielded device. And obviously, because it's accepting my mic input, is not having any problems. So I don't know what the fuck is going on with my audio. Anyway, enough about that. What was I gonna do? Oh, that's right. I was gonna show off the pages that we had completed. The last page that we had completed was page 8, which is the section devoted to purity. And as part of that, we're gonna roll right into here and hopefully get hospitality as well. If we can get both into one section, that would be wonderful. Then we can do the Bond of Salt all on its own page. Okay. That's the plan anyway. Oh, that's right. Black. Oh, and not centered. And we don't need it all to be bold. In fact, we want it all to be regular if possible. There's a lot there. Alright, well, let's see what we can fix to make this more usable. So first off, we'll tab there, and we're gonna zoom in a little bit. I wish I could... Oh, I can. That's as much as I can shrink that. That's lame. Whether it comes to tents, mud brick houses, and an oasis, they usually contain separate quarters for women, an area where no grown man but a husband may venture, and even then he typically asks permission as a courtesy. The degree to which women must remain these quarters varies. For instance, the laws of Zakara hospitality requires a woman to act as host in her husband's absence, serving an honored or needy guest when it comes to their abode, offering coffee and food. Coffee is a big thing in Middle Eastern culture. Were her husband to appear later, she might politely retire to her quarters. Although foreigners might view seclusion as a prison, in Zakara, women often see it as her privilege as well as her sanctuary. So you, no, not italicized, can be bold. Wait, is this all still bold? Much better. Although a little bit harder to read when so small. So first off, you can be bold and extra bold, centered, and you can be 24. And then you can also be centered, italicized, centered. We'll actually tab these over a little bit and make them small. There we go. That one looks wonderful. Italicized. Okay. And then these can go down to size... What did we use before? Like 9? There we go. Looks like an awfully large gap. That's what I thought. God, I really... You know what? F it. We'll just change back and forth. Alright. In the Land of Fate, generosity brings honor, while stinginess spawns contempt. As a result, Zakaran hospitality is unrivaled. According to Zakaran ethics, a man must offer food and drink to anyone who appears at his doorstep as a friend, no matter how poor the host may be. In the husband's place when receiving, or in her husband's place, or when receiving female friends, a woman must do the same. If a guest comes to the door at night, the host must offer lodging as well as sustenance. A wealthy host may also offer as well as sustenance, such as dance of a talented servant and perhaps even a gift. The obligation and desire to offer hospitality is as compelling as personal need. A nomadic tribe whose foodstuffs are nearly gone may avoid a busy oasis, even if their water stores are equally low. The tribe would rather know thirst and hunger than be unable to offer hospitality to the strangers at the oasis. A host assumes responsibility for the well-being of his guests. That is generally considered true, even in Western culture. Whether a man lives in a goat's hair tent or a lavish house, his honor depends on how well he treats those who place themselves in his care. For this reason, guests can expect safety as well as sustenance. even if they were once the host's enemy. Arsenic and other toxins are easy to obtain in the Land of Fate, and poison is a common way to eliminate foes. Nonetheless, once a foe becomes guest, and share the bond of salt, oh, that means we... Why can't I go back? Redo. Alright, so what did I accidentally get rid of there? Once foes become guests. And they share in the bond of salt, even they can eat heartily, expecting the host's protection as well as his friendship. In turn, the guests are expected to act as loyal friends, never overstaying their welcome and never overstepping the bonds of good behavior. Embarrassment, and say he is even... What? God damn it, is this another situation where a graphic effed everything up? You know what, we'll just leave it at that. That's... And that fits most of the page. So what we'll do is we'll just drop this down a little bit. Increase this up. No, I think 24 is fine. We'll also drop that down a little bit. There we go. There's page 9. So one thing I've been kind of toying with is, because I know the World Guide stuff is not terribly exciting, so one of the things I've been toying around with is moving forward and going to start designing some of the stuff that is a little exciting. So you can be bold, bold, and centered. Everything else. Oh yeah, and we'll go ahead and do the 24. Okay. So let's see here. Oh. Delete space. There's a lot here, so I'm not going to read it all, although, no, I kind of need to. See here. The salt bond epitomizes hospitality, mutual responsibility to host the guest. When the guest ingests salt from the host table, their bond becomes formal. Presumably, the salt remains in the guest's body for 3 days. Until those 3 days elapse, the host is responsible for the guest's welfare. Only so far as they are guests. Once they leave, they're no longer the host's responsibility. Which is kind of nice. The guest has his own obligations. By accepting the salt, the guest agrees to bring no harm to the host. Furthermore, a polite guest should even leave with the coming dawn of the family's stores appear to be lean. If the family protests heartily, the guest may stay for the entire duration of the salt bond. No matter what the hosts may proclaim, however, it is impolite for a guest to remain in another's house for more than 3 days. Thereafter, the welcome is gone no matter how much salt is consumed. Furthermore, a guest knows that it is impolite to ask for hospitality of any kind. He or she must wait for the host to offer it. Since it is the host's duty to do so, and an insult to not accept, a guest is rarely disappointed. The rules of hospitality come to light in Shahrazad's famous tale, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. The poor woodcutter Ali Baba discovers a treasure trove in a magical cave which belongs to a band of robbers. Ali Baba takes some of the treasure, which is clearly centuries old. The robber captain discovers Ali Baba's identity and vows to kill the daring woodcutter. But not before Ali Baba is severely punished. In the guise of a merchant, the robber goes to Ali Baba's modest home. The kindly woodcutter fails to recognize the robber and graciously offers a meal. The merchant does not wish to accept. He claims he has a very special dietary needs. When Ali Baba insists, proclaiming that anything can be prepared, the robber feigns insult not to accept a guest feigns insult not to accept. No. A thief and a murderer will not violate the laws of hospitality. Okay, so there was something else missing there. There was another probably graphic that got in the way. Were he to consume Ali Baba's salt, he would be honor-bound to do no harm to the woodcutter and his family. Ali Baba serves his guest unsalted meat. The robber chews the fare and schemes, imagining how he will humiliate and destroy his gracious host. When the meal is done, before his plan can take effect, a clever servant girl enters the room. She dances magnificently, bending to and fro while brandishing a scimitar. For the finale, she plunges the blade into the chest of the surprised robber. The robber is dead. Ali Baba is mortified. He believes he must kill the girl in retribution. Because the merchant was his guest, the girl hastily reveals the merchant's true identity, and explains how the robber purposefully avoided the bond of salt so that he was not really a guest after all. Everyone lives happily ever after, except the robber, of course. And yet another well-known yam, a thief is pillaging a home when he comes across a small box. Inside is another box, which contains a fine white powder. Thinking it is sugar, the thief touches it to his lips. To his horror, he discovers that it is salt. Immediately, he leaves the house, taking nothing. Like the robber in the tale of Ali Baba, he is willing to steal, yet he cannot bring himself to violate the bond of salt. Even if the bond was forged by accident. To most Sakharans, actual salt is not required for the bond's... There we go. Is not required for the bond of hospitality. Even a guest who merely drinks water or unsalted coffee is expected to do no harm to an honorable guest. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is why editing is important. Because we just took that massive section and pretty much cut it in half. But now I'm going to need a graphic to fill that negative space. So let's see here. What do we have graphics-wise? Go with the Devil, the Death Note, Desert Battle. Nope. Desert Queen, Flying Chase, Freeing a Genie, Forgotten Idol. Wait, where's that? That one of the guy. Yeah, is this a full page? This is a full page. It's a good image, though. I really like that image. Plunder? No. This is a half page. Although it doesn't really... Well, what's the next section? The next section is Piety. Do we have one that's a half page for a mosque? Nope. Not that one. Nope, that. 400%. That one's small enough. Drop that in there and then lead into Piety with the next... on the next page. Yeah, that works. That works. That was Forgotten Idol. Yeah. There's still a whole lot of negative space going on here, but it's better than nothing. So this is page 10. You go away. Yes. Fine, we'll just delete the entire layer. So next we go to Piety, huh? Which is not a very big section, all things considered. I wonder what my downstairs neighbors are watching, because it's very loud. You can be double bold and 24 and centered. Bam. Okay. Is that enough for the lore giver section? I don't think so. Nope. Nope. Come back. We'll do 12.37. That's a little better. So, bring that up. We can probably jog this whole thing up a little bit. Bam. And now maybe we might have enough room for the lawgiver section. I really hope so, because that would be awfully convenient. .37. Okay. Gotta get that right. You can be double bold 24 centered. And you can drop down one. Okay. So let's see. Let's get more of this. In here. If. Oh, damn. Look at that. That's such a good fit. Okay. Tab. Oh, that screwed everything up. Need to do the same up here. Oh, that didn't mess anything up. Okay. That is page 11. Done. Was that the easiest page we've done? Probably. Yes, delete layer 2. Delete the text layer. Alright, so calling upon fate. Oh boy. Now we get into the section where Al-Qadim gets a little abstract. In that fate is kind of a goddess. But don't worship her because then she'll smite your ass. She's very fickle in that regard. She wants to be acknowledged. But don't you dare worship her. Okay. The next section is not going to fit here. Will that have to be our first double spanning? Bam. Italicized. Oh, nope, not the whole thing. Just the actual proverb. There is no fate, but the fate which we are given. And then that whole section can be size 9. Bam, that looks pretty dang good, actually. I like how well this is coming together. This had 2 paragraphs, maybe? Let's see here. In Zakara, fate is the force by which it guides and shapes the lives of everyone. And all Zakarans know her power. Is she a god, the god of gods, a powerful ruler of genies, or simply a perverse force beyond true comprehension? The answers are for the shairs and priests to debate. For others, it matters not what fate is, but what she does. She is the weaver of time, supplying threads of the future and mixing them with threads of the past. She graciously provides the basis for all victories, and she is the justification for all defeats. She does not excuse characters who do not do their best, however. Their future is in their own hands, as well as in the hands of fate. Win or lose, she is always there, the supreme mediator and guardian of the future. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. Done. Okay, well, that section is done. How to call fate. We're gonna start with just... To call upon fate, a character must be in a position when survival... For example, a character without a weapon surrounded by a pride of hungry panthers would be in a sufficiently desperate situation. So would someone trapped in the back of a valley by an angry contingent of the Sultan's guards. So too would a character trapped in a well into which the flame wizard is about to cast fireball. Or a character falling from a flying carpet half a mile above the ground. Life and death situations are preferred. Calling upon fate requires a percentage roll. If the result is a 1 or a 2, fate intervenes on the character's behalf. If a roll is 96 or more, the hand of fate turns against them. Clerics of orders are exceptions. They too make a percentage roll, but they have a better chance succeeding. Okay, you know what? Boop, boop, boop. Boop. No. We're going to get rid of hard mechanics. If fate intervenes on the character's behalf, the DM's response is responsible for coming up with the good fortune that gives the individual at least a fighting chance. For example, in the case of the Panthers, the moonlight might suddenly glint off the blade of an old weapon, fortuitously buried in the nearby sand. In the case of the city guard, the higher-up might suddenly shout, "You fools! Take the prisoner alive!" For the character about to be incinerated in a well, a scattering of rocks might break loose, revealing a small passage in the sidewall. And for the plummeting character, a large eagle might fly by, allowing the character to grab hold and to slow his or her fall. Alternatively, a passing djinn might take interest of the plummeting mortal and begin negotiating terms of rescue. That's how I would go. Should the mortal hesitate, the djinn might save the character should the mortal hesitate, the djinn might even save the character from the ground, just as the ground loomed up from below. At the very least, a character for whom fate smiles upon be granted a +4 bonus to intimidate saving throws, or even a saving throw where none otherwise would be available. Alternatively, character could receive a +4 bonus to the immediate attack. Whatever happens, the DM should not provide the character with an automatic rescue. Only with the raw materials with which he or she can provide the character can survive. For example, the Panthers were to suddenly fall to the ground dead, that would be going too far. Alright, so we're going to get rid of that section. The Hand of Fate works a bit like old serial plots from the 1920s and beyond. The hero seems doomed and hopeless, but when the reel begins, some means of escape miraculously appears, allowing the saga of perils to continue. Getting rid of that. If fate turns her hand against the asker, the individual suffers a -4 penalty to saving throws, attacks, proficiency checks, and other random rolls. Okay. If fate turns against the player, turns against the asker, the situation, the peril, grows more dire. For example, while fleeing from the Panthers, the character might what might the character do? Oh, might catch their foot on a root or fall into quicksand. It's not a whole lot of examples, but it's something. And by cutting out a whole bunch of that rules, hard rules stuff, we might have just given ourselves the space we needed. Oh yeah, we got there. Bold. Bold. Center. Oh, maybe not. We'll see what this does. And that becomes an apostrophe. Yeah, see, there we go. Not half bad if I do say so myself. Alright, so that is now page 12. The reason I cut out all that hard rule stuff is, A, we're not in second edition anymore, so those rules don't really fit. And B, I prefer rule books like I wouldn't even call this a rule book. I prefer books like the one we're making to be more cinematic, if you will. Okay. So these 2 layers can go away now. And let's see here, what's next? Oh, we're getting into a very, very long section about hell, I don't even know what to call this section. It's general world knowledge sort of stuff. It's the kind of thing that, like living in America, we know that there is always a freeway. No matter how far you are out in the middle of the wilderness, if you head any direction, you will hit a major road. That's the kind of level of general knowledge we're talking about here. Or that if you go to any city with a population of, I'd say, probably 1,000 and up, there's a McDonald's. Might only be one, but there's a McDonald's. In case you're wondering, I have no proof for that statistic. I just pulled that number out of my ass. Alright, coffee's done. On to water. And on to more editing. And this is a lot more about the people, which is good. Because we just ended a whole section of other various things. Oh, this section doesn't have a title. Wrong. There we go. This orderly system grants an ownership and established the first caliph. Tradition granting the land is much older. Actually, the slavery section is kind of interesting, so we'll definitely read that. But we can almost a whole cloth just drop each city onto its own page, so that'll make that a little easier at least. Except for some of these big cities, they're going to take several pages. Cities of the heart, most especially, will probably take. And then the temples will actually, or the gods will take a lot of space as well. Well, nothing to do but keep going. tab. Or did I have this separated into 2 paragraphs? At Al-Hadhar. Okay. Al-Hadhar are, let's see here. The Al-Badi and the Al-Hadhar. This chapter focuses on the latter. While the nomads dealt primarily in the Al-Hadhar, for the most part inhabit Zakhra's lowlands. The coast is cooler and wetter there. With frequent morning fogs and heavy but brief rains during the monsoon season. Life is not driven by the search for water and green grass as it is by the nomads, though irrigation and wells are still required for agriculture. In general, the people of Zakhra's settlements have easy access to water. They're sedentary as well as settled, and are often live lives in the same house as his father, in the same community as his grandfather. There is a greater sense of continuity than in the desert, with buildings and businesses offering proof of man's ability to tame the land. Trade is more established than in the settlements, which often have souks. In addition to open bazaars, the population is more highly concentrated than in the wildlands, given rise to stronger rules of order and law. I almost think this section can we combine this with another section? Let's see here. Attitudes and customs, attire, veils, architecture, women's roles, marriage, slavery, non-human races, war and the Al-Hadhar. I'm thinking of taking this whole section, everything that we have here, and then doing all the cities immediately following it, and then do the desert tribes section. So we would kind of cut this out of order, and then we can do gods and faith. No, you know what? We're going to do gods first. We're going to do all the gods. That's our next section. Oh, we don't need this chapter 5 part, but oh, why did I get rid of that layer? It was already set up. That was dumb of me. Oh well. Sometimes you do stupid things and regret them immediately afterwards, even if they're not really that big of a deal in the long run. Boop. Alright, so you get to be double bold, and 24, and centered. Oh. Nope. Yee. There we go. That's a little better. So where did I have those breaks after? Nope. Do not venerate the savage deities. Many Zakharans are quite tolerant of the misguided folk who do, but others, especially more moralists, consider such heathen beliefs an affront to the lawgiver and all that are civilized and good. So we'll see if that is a good break point there. Major gods, great gods, have the largest, most organized churches in Zakara. Because they are recognized throughout the Land of Fate, these include don't need their titles here. Jisin of the Floods, Kor the Venerable, Najam the Adventurous, Selen the Beautiful Moon, and Lurd Zon. Members of the League of the Pantheon also consider Jahar the Gemmed a great god, though she is recognized only in their area. Local gods. Common gods are recognized in the word of the Lord Giver, but they are not worshipped universally. Well known in one area or city, a local god may be unheard of just 10 or 20 miles away. The followers of local god do not gain the benefits of large organized churches. A DM may wish to create new deities he or she wishes. Al-Qadim campaign can readily add them, loosely defined by mixed common gods. Worship and faith are largely matters of personal choice in Zakara. Lay people, you know what? Nope, that's not large enough to deserve its own paragraph. Lay people may worship a number of gods at the same time, or switch from one god to another. The only true requirement is that one believes in some greater power, preferably enlightenment. Members of a priest what now? Usually devote themselves to a given faith. However, pragmatists, ethos, and moralists usually follow a single enlightened god or faith, with most moralists belonging to the church of a great god. Some mystics worship heathen gods. Okay, so priests. Oh wait, no. They're not priests. They're clerics. Because this isn't 2nd edition anymore. Nope. There we go. Usually devote themselves to a given faith. However, pragmatists, loyalists follow a single enlightened god belonging to a church. Some mystics worship heathen gods, as do outland priests. The great gods are either good nor evil, nor lawful or chaotic. That's incredibly important in D&D, because all gods, except for a few small subsect of gods, follow the alignment system. The Zakaran gods have no alignment. Straight up, if you look up their profile in deities and demigods, their alignment is just a dash. They have nothing. It's very important. It means you can't detect evil, even the god that's against you, because they don't. So in D&D, there's a multiverse, and the gods live in the realm in which their alignment exists. The Zakaran gods do not leave the realm of Zakara. The Zakaran gods cannot even go to Faerun, which is just over the mountains from where the gods are, or from where Zakara is. They can't go there. but they also simultaneously exist in the land and in the heavens, except not the heavens as we would know them, which is called Bitopia. It's D&D is a mess if you try to dig into this sort of thing. All you really need to know about the Zakaran gods is they're awesome, they don't follow alignments, and they exist in bodies as well as in heaven. So, there you go. Nor chaotic. Period. We're going to need to find a good line break for when this page ends. They are beyond such matters. Bravery can be found in the most noble Ferris and the most black-hearted assassin. Oh, nope, not the whole thing. Just up to gods and faith. Right? That's where we started? Yep, okay. There, beyond bravery can be found. Hajam is to turn an ear to either of them. Individual followers of churches may be good or evil, but the great gods are above these quibbles. This sets them apart of the common gods from the heathen deities, who are usually lockstepped into their believers. Alignment to their believers. Alignment. That might be where we call that page. Yeah, I think so. Page 13. Okay. There we are. The subject of Zakaran faith would not be complete without the mention of three important figures: Fate, the Lawgiver, and the Grand Caliph. All three of these are powerful and influential aspects of enlightenment. They are not worshipped, however, for none is a god, and no mosque has been erected in their names. Further, none of these figures can grant spells to anyone who might mistakenly declare them as a deity. Fate is often described as a natural force that is a part of every man and woman. Every woman's future. She is not a goddess, but she does aid those who succeed, and she may comfort those who fail. The gods, whatever their nature, defer to her. While she is not worshipped directly, her name is invoked to show her influence in the world. The Lawgiver, we'll cut that as a paragraph. Maybe. We'll see how much. No! We lost it. Where was I? Boop. The Lawgiver, in some ways, is the handmaid of fate, her servant and the director of her will. It is the Lawgiver who first defined the law that binds the society of Zakara together. The Lawgiver is, or was, recognized as a mortal being. However, the mortal beings are not to be worshipped. The Grand Caliph sits at the center of the world. He is a descendant of the first Grand Caliph, the one who was smiled upon by fate, who brought forth law and the lawgiver and spread enlightenment throughout the land. While he is respected and venerated, the Grand Caliph is not a god. He is born of woman, like any other being, and will pass in time. Good to know. Nor does the Grand Caliph demand organized worship and godhood. It is enough to be cheered by the thundering masses, and to benefit from the riches of his far-flung empire. Yeah, I bet. Is that enough for its own? I don't think that's enough for its own paragraph. There we go. And do we start another section? No, we can't fit patterns of worship in. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take this whole section about the gods, and we're going to take that all the way to the top. Gods of the crowded sea. Don't care about the cities. Cut. There we go. Now let's move to the top. That way, when we are done for the night, we don't have to worry about trying to remember where we were. Makes things easy. Let me try something else. I'm still not getting anything, which tells me that it's something to do with my computer. Are you guys? It's going good. How you doing? Haven't seen you around in a while. Are you able to hear the music by chance? Okay, good. Because just as I was getting ready to start the stream, my audio cut out completely. And I have no idea why. Like, I can't even hear the ding. Yeah, I turned it down that way. It doesn't override anything, but I can turn it up a little bit. Still have half a page. Huh. Do I have an image that will work there? I don't know. Let's find out. We've already done Forgotten Idol, which is a good image, but I've got all the gods. You know what? No, because once we get to the gods, we're gonna drop a whole lot of very small images, but still, we will do an image for the next page. Though we'll just do the mosque all on its own. So save as. This is 14. Okay. This. Go away. Open. Mosque. Should probably go down to M for that. There we go. page 15. Now that I've decided like how I kind of want to set this up, we're flying through it pretty good. Okay. So that puts us at patterns of worship, which will probably take up most, if not this entire page. That also actually helps quite a bit. The fact that the sections that we're putting in are so large now that it's mostly just copy paste and then a little bit of edit work on top of it is hugely beneficial. Nope. There we go. Let's see here. All enlightened Zakarans share a pattern of prayer, despite the differences in the gods they worship. For example, those who are faithful and enlightened wash before their formal prayer, using a small bowl of water, or sand where there is none. It is also customary to prostrate oneself upon the ground to pray, perhaps rising and kneeling several times. However, all that is truly required is that a man and woman bow their heads towards Hazaz and pray for guidance along the path of goodness. Civilized Al-Hadhar pray 3 times each day and enlightened to the enlightened god or gods at dawn, 2 hours past midday, and 2 hours past sunset. Each time a gong sounds from the mosque, reverberating through the community. For the morning and midday prayer, imams in the mosque call from the minarets, inviting devout worshippers to attend services at their temple. While attendance is encouraged, it is not strictly required, and the faithful may pray virtually anywhere. Enlightened Al-Bari follow a similar pattern of prayer, though no gong sounds to announce the time each day. They must prostrate themselves facing Hazaz and praise their chosen gods. At midday, most nomads simply bow their heads for a moment of silent contemplation. At least once per week, family members commonly attend religious instructions and sermons at a mosque. In areas where moralist attitudes prevail, service for men and women are separate. Elsewhere, all are welcomed in common services. Mosques that cater to different faiths may conduct open services honoring many gods, or they will schedule a series of more specialized services. At least once in their lives, enlightened Al-Hadhar are expected to make a pilgrimage to the glittering Hazaz, the city of delights, jewel of Suk Bay, and the Golden Gulf, center of all civilization. The city has a lot of titles. It is here that the great mosques and relics of the faithful can be found. Most importantly, this is the home of the Grand Caliph. Khalil al-Assad al-Zahar, he who is worthy of the gods, giant among men, scourge of the unbeliever, confidant of GDs. He's also got a lot of titles, but he is the Grand Caliph. So, pilgrims grow. Ooh, is this? Oh, there's a lot more. There's way more. Maybe not. Maybe we don't have enough space to do this. I was hoping we could fit this whole one in just a single... Can we barely make it? Oh, that is so nice. Okay. The reason I was reading it, and the reason I read most of them, is to find, like, good paragraph breaks. But if we can just fit this whole section onto a single page, even if there are no paragraph breaks, I'll take it. $16. All right. We have now doubled the number of pages that we started with. Completed pages. The Great Gods. I should be able to fit all of that into one. Heck yeah, I can. Alright, so you... Bold, bold, 24 in center. Yes, these are the names of the great gods. $24. Alright, let's get in here. The text that follows describes the many of the gods and faiths in Zakara. Entries for major and local gods include details, common symbols of gods of the faith. These symbols are used with great care. While many are adorned official texts and be worn by the faithful, they are not to adorn mosque architecture or be used in the embodiment of the gods. As an embodiment of the gods. Such actions lead to the worship of an item as opposed to the ideal. That's, if you're wondering where that whole, like, you can't have images of Allah or, why can't I think of the name of the prophet? I feel really dumb right now. But from actual Islam, this is why. It's because idolatry is a big no-no in Islam. So, yeah, there we go, idolatry. However, it is not improper to describe a god's physical form in the context of a tale or a legend. There we go. Such actions lead to the worship of an item. And, however, okay, major mosques. Okay, so these are going to get a single bold because these are essentially titles of smaller sections. Locations of a pantheon indicate whether the god is a member of the Pantheist League. Order of priests, hierarchy of the church percentage of pragmatists, etheists, and moralists throughout the land of fate. Also noted are any special abilities that are did I include free priests in this? No, because then we just go straight to ethos and ideals. Omitted PC kits are not barred from the faith. They are merely unusual. Also noted are many special abilities awarded to free priests. Okay, so that section go away. That has nothing to do with 5th edition. Brief statement of the gods, principles. Principles. Generally guiding principles of the faith, sustainable for living by. Framing or using in a debate with others. If various factions espouse particular principles, they are noted here. The faith is a brief description of areas in which the faith is popular and the people who belong to the faith. Jahar, who are members of the Pantheist League. Okay. Essentially, that's how to read the sections about the gods. We can... Oh. I've not been able to be as consistent about that as I would like, simply because of the amount of text that we're dropping. But whenever possible, I like to put a space between the title and the body. Okay, well, now we can actually get into the gods. We can start removing a whole bunch of text. Let's make this little bar over here get short. And out of necessity, I would like to fit each god into... I would like to make each page at the most 2 gods. But we'll see what we can get away with. No, this gets to be back down to 12.37. And not double bold. We'll start with regular and left aligned for now. You can be double bold, 24 centered. Ooh, and we get to drop some art in. Yeah, so each god's probably going to be single page. Okay, nope. Well, here's what we're going to do. As opposed to dropping this, I'm just going to do that. And then we will go and get our god's symbol. Hajama the Courageous, huh? Bam! There we go. Also known as Brave Hajama, this great god represents the ideal of courage in the face of opposition. In legend, he is described as a stocky man whose long beard is black as ink. When telling tales of Hajama's adventures in the desert, Al-Badi priests describe a figure who wraps himself in a jalaba as dark as midnight. Al-Hadhar described the god as a man who comes to the cities wearing lamellar armor that is carved from the night itself. Damn. This guy likes his black. This guy's a goth, and I'm down. Symbol. None. Or a featureless disc. Well, since we have a symbol for him, we're just going to go ahead and say it's a featureless disc. Oh. Never mind. That's right, we can't actually control Z. Hold on. Sorry about that. Now we'll start with featureless disk. Delete that. Or none. We'll get rid of the... Nope, wrong one. Wrong one. That's the one. Bravery is not worn in the heart. is worn at the heart, not in the sleeve. High-ranking male priests of Hajama also wear long black beards. So they're pirates. Got it. Bold that. Really? That shortcut doesn't work in... Of all the shortcuts not to work, bold doesn't, huh? Yes, he's considered part of the Pantheist League. His ideal is bravery. His ethos is bravery wins over opposition. Cowards always dare to try. Cowards fail because their deeds are unattempted. Bravery takes many forms, the easiest of which is battle. I'm gonna need to figure out a better way to separate these. Alright, man. Well, have a good one. Take it easy. And have a good night. Living through a defeat strengthens the spirit more than dying for an ideal. The faith. The faith. The faith, the faith, the faith, the faith, the faith. The faith of brave Hajama is popular in rural areas, especially those which border deserts, mountains, or other potentially hostile regions. If a man is said to have Hajama in his heart, faded his back, then he is both courageous and fortunate. The faiths of Hajama and Najam are on friendly terms, and priests of one will often attend each other's mosques. In the pantheon, Hajama is portrayed as one of the sons of Kor, with Najam as his twin brother. No, I don't want to set that precedent, because some of these are going to be big enough that we can't do spaces in between all the sections. Put an extra space in between these, because their deeds go unattempted. Easiest way of doing this battle. Living through defeat strengthens. Okay. Okay. Nope, that works. Bam. So we are on page, that's page 18. Who's next? Nope. Okay. Oh. Bring that back. Copy. Okay. For center, and then it gives me way more than enough space than I need, but that's good. I'd rather have a lot more space for these god symbols than a lot less. So which one are we on? Hakia. Well, I spelled it wrong, but there we go. Oop. Cresting Wave. Major mosques. She is not part of the Pantheon. Her ideals are honesty and truth. She symbolizes truth in human form. I think this should have gone up here. Ethos. Principles. Question and check, then check again. People see what they desire to see, not what always truly exists. Hell yeah. All men and women may cast illusions. Even those who are not sorcerers. And even those who are ignorant of their actions. Danger lies in unquestionable belief. Hey! Holy crap, who would have thought that a product from D&D 20 years, 30 years ago would be so indicative of nature today. Yeah, she's not worshipped by the Pantheist League, and if you are in a Pantheist city and you're worshipping her, you might be actively persecuted. Because fuck those guys. They're the only group in all of Al-Qadim that has a problem with religions not being theirs. Because they're fundamentalists. Go away. Go away. Alright. What's next? That's gone. Master of the Desert Wind. Sounds awesome. Ooh, that one looked like it was going to be real short. Okay. Haku, huh? There we go. Hey, Kasan, how you doing, man? I am doing fabulous. Thanks for asking. Oh. Also known as even if by even the most minuscule of desires dissipates, only to give way to unwavering powers of instinct. Is that a quote? Oh, the end result would be dinosaurs? Because that sounds like that's a quote from something. And that sounds more specifically like a quote that I've heard before. But I might be mixing it up with something else that is similar. And if so, I apologize because that is actually really well said. The god represents personal independence. Good job. No, you're fine. Describes as desert nomad, wearing a flowing abba and kafia. With a gleaming scimitar at his side. His words were recorded by those who receive them, are always profound, self-assured, and even haughty. He implores his followers to apply themselves and to do nothing half-heartedly. Freedom and independence. Man, even his ethos is pretty small. His principles are tiny. I guess not. It just seems really small. Like a really small section. But after I break it down to, well, we'll see here. Protect those you love and respect, but do not assume that they will be there to protect you. That is a mighty wise god. Haku is popular in regions lying in and near the open desert. In the Pearl Cities, he is connected to Hikea, who is alternately described as a niece, sister, and aunt. Both worship are persecuted in the pantheist lands. Of course they would be, because they want people to stand up for themselves and be free and happy, not persecuted and beat down by the local government. Started on we started working on page 9 at the beginning of the stream. And, well, thanks to a little bit of reorganizing of how we're going to do the order, we are kind of flying through it now. But that's only going to last so far as we're on the gods. Once we get to some of the other sections, it's going to slow down. Jahar the Gemmed, huh? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, that's, tiny. Why is it so small, precious? It's not a text box. Why is that not... Why? What? No, go away. Why are you not in a text box, my precious? Okay. Why did it drop in as a JPEG when I hit copy? Much better. Much better. (24) center bold and double bold. Oh boy. So we're going to need to do some condensing immediately, otherwise we won't be able to... What am I looking for? There it is. First off, do we even... Okay, we have a symbol for the god as well, so yeah, we definitely need to... Hey, Panda Pants Party! How you doing? Copy that. Yeah, we're gonna need to figure out how to fit his coin symbol in here. So we're gonna have to be doing a lot of condensing right away. Hopefully there's some stuff we can just straight up cut. But it does not look like it. Aha! Well, how are things? It's been a while. Yeah, I figured it out. I probably should have figured that out before. Well, this goddess is sometimes called the Gem-Studded. She is technically a common deity because her worship is confined to the Pantheist League and a few cities of the Ruined Kingdoms. Consider her a great god, however, taking the place of Bountiful Jason, who the pantheists view as a common god. Jar takes physical form, rare, okay. Jesus. That section, her description is huge! Holy crap. Alright, well. Maybe we'll have to fit the coin in over here somewhere, which would break... everything that we've done up until this point, but not necessarily in such a way that it is unusable and, you know, thus have to kill this god's section. Actually, already we've saved up enough space that we might be able to drop that in. Work hard and you will be rewarded as your due. A holy person is a wealthy person. Well, maybe in the Pantheist League, but not everywhere else. Those who have no food cannot meditate. They think more on their empty stomachs than their empty souls. That's fairly accurate, I would say. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, from the perspective of someone... of a god, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. Wealth is the oil that greases the wheels of the civilized world. Yeah, okay. Fate gives those who take. Ho ho ho. Ho ho ho. There are many D&D adventurers that would love that saying tattooed on their forehead. You know what? That one gets its own line all by itself, just because of that. Jahar represents the industriousness of the pantheist cities. And she is venerated by merchants and craftsmen of the region. Her worship is tolerated in other areas. Yep. Though not where Jason prevails. Imagine that. Two gods that represent the same thing don't necessarily get along. At times, the competition is bloody. In the Pantheon, Jahar is regarded as the beautiful daughter of Kor. This explains the popular pantheist saying, "Wisdom comes from strength, but wealth comes from wisdom." And we will italicize that, considering it's a saying. And that should free up enough space for us to get this damn coin in. Bam. Look at that. This is coming together. We should have enough time for one or even two more pages. That would be awesome. I'm just reformatting it. This is all the Al-Qadim stuff from 2nd edition. I'm reorganizing it in a way that, personally, I think fits together as a better world guide before we move on to making all the rules from the 2nd edition stuff compatible with 5th edition. That's ultimately the goal, is to make 5th edition Al-Qadim material. I decided to start with the world guide because it seemed the easiest, to be perfectly honest. It's mostly cut and paste and a little bit of formatting. Once I get to the player's handbook, that is actually going to be probably the hardest one, because there's going to be some classes that don't have good correlation from 2nd edition to 5th edition, but we'll do our best. Actually, 3.5/Pathfinder, great system, a little heavy on the rules, but you can obviously house roll as much crap away as you want. But 5th edition is actually really good. It's really, really well made. Even if you don't want to buy it, I highly recommend, at least next time you get an opportunity to stop by a game store, at least checking it out. It is very playable. It caters more, its design was catered more towards 2nd edition players. But it is definitely kind of this weird cross of like 3.5 and 2nd edition. With my favorite thing is a huge de-emphasis on feats. There's almost no feats. In fact, feats are entirely optional rules within the rulebook. Which, to some hardcore players from Pathfinder or 3rd edition era, would call travesty and heresy and burn it at the stake just for that. But I was very impressed by the rules. I think the book is laid out terribly, at least the player's handbook. But that's coming from a slightly different perspective, and it has no bearing on the actual rule set. Symbol, a rain cloud. Another god that we have to mess around with stuff before we can get their symbol in. Although this one seems like it's going to be a lot easier already. Hard work brings abundance. Not entirely true, but I mean, as far as an ethos goes, not bad. Rewards of the spirit and the flesh may be harvested from the act of applying oneself to a noble task. That is a long saying, but I can mostly agree with that. The gold brought from honest labor is repaid 1,000-fold in the goods it brings to the spirit. In the good it brings to the spirit. Fate brings all men and women. Fate brings all things to men and women, but only those who are prepared may take advantage of it. No, I like that one. I like that one a lot. If the sky were raining catfish, would you rather have a net or a parasol? That's kind of amazingly stupid. It doesn't matter if you have a net or a parasol. It's raining fish. You can pick it up off the ground. She is venerated by merchants, and her word is carried throughout the land of fate. To every port. Jason's worship is nearly universal, though it is most popular in cities that boast thriving bazaars. Members of the League of the Pantheon consider Jason a common god, unworthy of their worship. You bring up a good point. You bring up a very good point. I guess that would depend on... Yeah, I guess that would depend on how fresh. Like, do you live next to the river, lake, or ocean region from which the catfish were pulled into the clouds? Or was it a spontaneous, like, god action that caused them to fall? Or wizard. Actually, that seems like the thing a wizard would do. Just to cause, like, pandemony. I can see a wizard doing that. That had a lot more space than I thought it did. Jason, huh? Okay, good. I have Jason's symbol, which certainly is a rain cloud. Look at that. I did not know that. I mean, I could have probably figured out that larger fish suffocate at a quicker rate because their metabolism needs to be higher in order to maintain the amount of blood flow in order to keep their brain alive. But at first thought, I would not have considered that. All right. 22. Yeah, we'll go a little long. We'll get the next page in. That'll be 15 pages that we did tonight. I mean, that's largely thanks to the fact that there's actually very little editing that we need to do with these sections, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that amount of progress, because I was afraid actually that this book was also going to take the longest in terms of just editing. And it very well may still. But it is not so bad. Okay. Kor. Good old Kor, the primary god of the world. And of course his sign is a sun. If you look at most gods through history whose symbol is the sun, typically, now this is not true, but typically that god is the head god of the pantheon. Obviously in both Greek and Roman that is not true, but Solar and I don't remember what the actual name is for the other one. I mean, I know he's Hermes brings, or not Hermes. Shoot. Not the messenger, the one that brings the sun in his chariot. Are not are not, like, the sun isn't named for them, but they represent, like, the sun's power on Earth. And they're major gods, but they're not the major god. But if you look at Asian religions, especially, the sun typically represents the main deity. And a large number of the Mesoamerican deities were also representative of the sun. Always seek out the wisdom of the elders and heed their words, even if you disagree with them. All right, Kor. All right. I mean, I know you're kind of the old man of the gods, but I get you. And unbending. Well, pragmatists tend to emphasize the principles of Learning from one's mistakes. Pantheist priests view Kor as a father figure. Oh, well, isn't that neat? Okay, so that's 23 pages done. That is some very good progress, and I am very, very happy with how far we've been going on this. Now, the size of our slider bar here has not really changed at all, despite how much we've taken out of this. But it will begin to, I promise. Save that as well. I would like to, thank each and every one of you for coming and hanging out with me tonight while I'm doing some editing on this. I know it's kind of a personal project, but considering there is no Al-Qadim material for 5th edition, it's something that I feel is needed. Especially since they keep on pushing Forgotten Realms, and this is part of Forgotten Realms, but they don't include this, or the Asian setting, or the Mesoamerican setting, in any of the books that they publish since 3rd edition. So I figured I would take my favorite campaign setting that they don't appear to be doing anything with, and make something that's at least usable for players who want to use the new rules set, but like this old setting. But so tomorrow is more Oblivion. We just started it yesterday, after we finished up Morrowind, so we're moving on to Oblivion, and we got our character made. We're a Argonian assassin. We just joined the Thieves Guild, so we'll be continuing on with that tomorrow. And most importantly, keep July 21st open. From noon to midnight Pacific time, I will be doing nothing but community-based games. Depending on what my finances are like, I might even pick up a couple games that I wouldn't have otherwise, like PUBG, or I don't know. I'll come up with some other stuff, but the week before, which is going to be the 14th, so next Saturday, if you're not already a member of our Discord, join it, because I will be posting in the announcements the complete list of games that are on the docket to be played. I know for a fact we're going to do all 4 Jackbox Party Packs, and beyond that, I don't know yet. I'm still figuring out everything that I want to do. And the reason I'm going to publish it, so to speak, in our Discord is A, get more people into our Discord, and B, that way you guys who want to join me for certain games can make sure they're installed and ready and up to date before we go live on the 21st. And, oh, shoot, I did not talk about that at all tonight. The 21st is going to be our 1-year celebration. So, I hope you guys will join me for that. In the meantime, I want you to have a wonderful night, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.